Sir, respected Sir, Professor Ibohal Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skills Development, Manipur University, to kindly grace the function. Thank you, Sir. Now I call upon our students to come on the dais and honor our dignitaries with lanyard and badge. Good morning, sir. Respected Registrar, Manipur University, Professor W. Chanbabu Singh. I request you, sir, to kindly take the chair on the dais and grace the function. Yes. Awesome. Today's chief guest, we have with us respected Sir Professor D.P. Goyal. Thank you, sir. Professor N. Lokendra Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Manipur University. Professor W. Chanbabu Singh, Registrar, Manipur University. Mr. Atul Kulkarni, Member, BOG, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong. Professor Srinivasan R. Iyengar, Director, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai University. And Professor C.H. Ibohal Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development, Manipur University. Now, may I request our volunteers once again to kindly come on the stage with the mementos, and I request respected Sir Professor N. Lokendra Singh to kindly do the honor of presenting the memento to respected Sir Professor D.P. Goyal. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor C.H. Ibohal Meitei, Seminar Convener, to kindly honor by presenting the dignitaries on the dais with the mementos. So I request Sir Professor N. Lokendra Singh. Professor W. Chanbabu Singh, Registrar, Manipur University. I request Sir Ibohal to kindly present the memento as an honor to Sir Mr. Atul Kulkarni. I request Professor Sri Nivasan R. Iyengar. Can they accept our smell? Thank you so much, sir. Now I request my colleague, Dr. Saram Suresh Kumar Singh, to kindly come on the stage and honor our respected director with the small token of honor. Thank you. To begin the function, now I request respected Professor C.H. Ibohal Meitei, the seminar convener and director of Center for Entrepreneurship Skill Development, Manipur University, to kindly deliver the introductory speech. Sir.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, Professor D.P. Goel, Honorable Director of Management Shillong, the chief guest of today's one-day national seminar on startups and entrepreneurship development ecosystem in Northeast India, in India. Our respected President of today's function, Professor N. Lokendra Singh, Sir Srini R. Iyengar, the Director, Jamnalas Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai University, the keynote speaker of today's seminar. Respected resource persons from different institutions and organizations, Dr. Rajiv Gangaba from KTBI, Bhubaneswar, Dr. Sanjeev, Coordinator, Center for Development of Northeast, IIM Shillong. Other special invitees, esteemed participants, delegates, young friends, and budding entrepreneurs. A very warm good morning to everyone. Well, today we are just organizing one-day national seminar on the startups and entrepreneurs ecosystem in India. In fact, the entire landscape of doing business is changing very fast. The world over, we have seen so much of changes taken place in various aspects of the life. And for the developmental things to happen, we have seen that the drivers of any economic development taking place in any part of the country or the state today as entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs only. So that's why we, as an academician, would like to play a key role in creating a conducive ecosystem for the development of startups and entrepreneurship. And for that matter, Manipur University has been trying many initiatives to promote entrepreneurship and enterprise creating culture in the state of Manipur too. Over the last almost less than 10 years, we have seen a dramatic change happening in the entrepreneurship and the startup ecosystem, and that way the world over also looking forward to creating more number of unicorn companies. And that's why Manipur University has established a Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development in 2014. And it is very much in the infant stage, trying with bare necessities and trying to propagate the enterprise creating culture and some sort of an entrepreneurial mindset to the young people of the state. And today we are able to produce so many good entrepreneurs, the first generation entrepreneurs coming up in a fast pace. And in fact, for that matter, we need to develop a better coordination, collaborations with all the stakeholders, the academic institutions, the financial institutions, the government agencies, and whosoever is playing a key role, including the already established organizations in different trades and the fields. We are just trying to develop a conducive ecosystem. And for that matter, we are just trying to develop collaborations with established institutions, and we are envisioning to produce at least a few unicorn companies from the state of Manipur in the next few years down the line. And for that matter, Shillong has kindly agreed to come down to Manipur University, providing all sort of support and cooperation. Besides, Shillong, we have one friend from Atal Incubation Center, Birla Institute of Technology and Management from NCR, Delhi, Greater Noida. Dr. Kapil Agrawal is also with us, and he will be sharing a lot of the ideas, cooperation, and the help to make a vibrant ecosystem in the state of Manipur. And in fact, this is just one beginning to reach a different level of enterprise creation and entrepreneurship development activities in the state of Manipur. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's deliberations from different resource persons will definitely be giving some sort of an insight, some sort of ideas and the directions where we shall be moving. And of course, we will be just providing an opportunity to interact each other, share the experiences, and that way we can move from one level to the another in the days to come. And we have young startups who have been trained by our center in different activities. They also will be showcasing their products. So one, Mr. Raj Varantem, is doing a very good business in the archery making and supplies. And also one of the iconic girl is Vidya Santi, taken up Shinajing Sanatambal, taking the fibers and leaves from lotus and making various kind of handloom items and lotus teas. And in fact, she had the opportunity to interact with our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji too. So that's why within this short span of time, we're able to create some promising entrepreneurs in the state of Manipur. And of course, we are supposed to see to it the kind of technological changes happening the world over. That's why tech-based incubation is becoming an inevitable component for the success of any enterprise or any startups. That's why when we talk of the scaling up of the business, technology is the only backbone which we are supposed to bank upon. And for that matter, we have so much of organizations who are ready to help, even in the area of finance. Fintech companies or some sort of a venture capitalists are ready to invest in various other prospective areas. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's try to deliberate upon on the various areas where we can take the opportunity. And of course, there may be certain areas of challenges that we can face it together. That's why we are just trying to provide a platform where we can just deliberate all these things and then move forward from one level to the another. Every effort we just put in, definitely it will be a great success. And together we will be just moving ahead, and we can make our small, beautiful state in this part of the country an economically vibrant state by contributing from every individual. That way, the problem of employability and the problem of connectivity, the problem of overall development can be rid of to a great extent. And in fact, Manipur today is in the time of transformation. So that's why we need to relook rethink and redo so many strategic initiatives for the betterment of our society and especially the young people. That's why, with that note, I express my hearty and warm welcome to each one of you for joining this morning this one-day national seminar on startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India, and let's try to get utmost benefit from the deliberations and interactions which we will be having in the next few minutes down the line. So thank you everyone for the patient hearing and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the inaugural lamp, and for that I request our student to kindly assist. Thank you, respected dignitaries. Further, to continue the function, now I would like to request respected Professor Srinivasan R. Iyengar, Director, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, Manipur Mumbai University, to deliver the keynote address.
Very good morning. At the outset, it's my pleasure, privilege and honor to be here. And respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Logetri Singh Ji, and DP Goyal Ji, and Registrar W.C. Singh Sir and Atul Kurganik Ji, and Dr. Meitei, and respected guest of the dais. The topic which we are discussing today, the conference, Startup and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem. I really appreciate the university has taken a wonderful initiative. This type of small initiative will definitely transform the future of Manipur. Especially today when we talk about the business, today India has 100+ unicorns are started now. Certain companies are moved into monica. The multiple nomenclature has come up. But we are not questioning how many companies really became profitable businesses. That is different question. But the truth is India could able to generate more number of entrepreneurs. And the interesting part, today enter India, we talk about the present scenario in a business. Today doing a business became challenging because of the multiple challenges we face. Today become VUCA. In fact, we also call tuna, the novelty item. That VUCA world, tuna world. Today the novelty item which helps the businesses to grow. The conventional business, if we talk about, because of digitization. Today if we talk about the top Fortune 500 companies, The top 10 companies today who they are listed 20 years deeper not there in this aggressive business. Even the company like Apple in 1998 almost were bankrupt, but today this became one company is having $1 trillion economic expense. That conventional type of businesses, when you talk about, if you want to produce movie, you'll have to go to Hollywood. If you want to buy a world best mutual funds, you'll have to go to Boston. If you want to buy a best perfumes, you'll have to go to Paris. Or if you have to go to the Italy for all the design. Automobile means Detroit or Germany. Is it the same scenario? Today scenario has changed. That's what today we talk about. The earlier word, the jargon of the business. Think global, act local. That's a normal jargon what we teach in business schools. Think global, act local. But today business scenario, act local to compete global. Today the business scenario talks about act local so that we can compete global. Today even Hollywood movies, you don't need to go to Hollywood to produce movies. Today even Hollywood movie comes, that should be customized to local languages. Today India has, not only we talk about Bollywood, Dollywood, Sandalwood, Gollywood, Dollywood, Bhojpuri foods, Sandalwood, how many woods movies are there? Today if we talk about, see that very interesting scenario. Yesterday when you were having dinner we were discussing. End of the day, the inconvenient truth, Harley Davidson couldn't survive. End of the day, inconvenient truth, Citibank couldn't able to do miracle in India. The world best brand of automobile brand, the top 5 automobile brand in the world, having a presence in India, but they are not top 5 brand in India in automobile. Take the history, you come to know. Again, I'll repeat what I said. The top 5 global manufacturer of automobile, they have a presence in India. But when you talk about India's top 5 brand, they are not in the top 5. Then who are there in that Indian market? Today if we talk about what happened to General Motors, GM, what happened to Ford Motors, right? So if we want to become success, what we should do in the business? What we should do when you want to do the businesses? Businesses spread across. We should have a multiple clusters. In fact, the future is all about cluster economy. Even today, we will have a multiple clusters can be created in one place. Manipur is the huge potential. Maybe that entrepreneurs would sit here. Or maybe you can talk about the potential. First, you should try to target the local, what we can able to do better, value addition than existing. And entrepreneurship is a fantastic journey. I still remember the small story, right? The entrepreneurship journey is not easy. I know there will be some few entrepreneurs too here. I always remember the small story, right? Whenever we make the temple, all gods are made in stone. But what could be the god has become a sanctum and sanctuary, the main deity? What made that god become in the sanctum and sanctuary? Why not all the stones never became a god? And people says only one example. The god, that also made up of stone. But what made them into the god? Because the stone has more resistance power. In fact, it is got more heated by the sculpture. Otherwise, that also will be the stone in the staircase. So, entrepreneurship, you will find is not an easy journey. And whoever 90% entrepreneurs, they never became success at the first stage. It is something like throwing a stone in the water. You take 2 stones with you. Do this exercise. You throw the stone first. Out of 100 people, 95% people, it is said that fact that stone which is thrown second will go longer than the first stone. What could be the reason for that? First stone go over some x, maybe 100 feet. The second stone definitely will go better than that. Why? Because the first stone, whenever we hit, we don't know where the target is. Second stone, at least we keep benchmark. That entrepreneurship, even if you see the world-class businesses started with something, they moved out with second. But always you can find the thing which you started the second move, they will become successful entrepreneurs. And today, the role of the education institutes, creating the cluster economy, innovation, technology, it's a phenomenal role. It can't be done alone. That ecosystem need to be created within university system. And today, if we talk about the world-class brands are made in universities, Nike, one of the classic example which was started by Andy Bowerman, who's created the product He is a faculty, sports fitness faculty at university. And today if we talk about, have you ever thought of it, what made Tetrite could able to create a world-class companies? Have you ever thought of it? Today we talk about frugal innovation, we talk about digital disruption, highly disruptive, right? This is what the economy we talk about. Have you ever thought of it, what could be the reason why those companies are could able to come in those places? If you could able to create that type of environment. Today, I recently traveled to Hyderabad and Bangalore. We talk about today what makes them those cities to become highly entrepreneurial. Or some extent even in Pune. We find that the entire ecosystem is on that practices. But everything is not made in overnight. Please remember that. And Manipur, when you talk about if you want to start, these baby steps will help you to build. First we have to talk about plucking the low-hanging fruits. This city has certain potential. And with the help of technology, as I said, distance became irrelevant. From sitting at Manipur, we can attract investments. But yes, there will be some limitation. Yesterday when I was talking with externals, I could able to realize there is a local condition, culture, political. And trust me, these are all always changes. Change always happening. It maybe take 3 years, 5 years. But the change bound to happen. Nobody could able to stop it. Today, if we talk about the organization which we talk about, that organization should have that agile in nature. How fast that organization could able to speed up? What innovation you have? Are they addressing something social issues? Today we talk about Uber. People say it's a digital disruption. It's really a disruption, Uber model. If you talk about in theory research paper, I can tell you the later the part, it is not disruptive. But today we talk about Uber is a disruptive. As per theory it is not. But it could able to serve the purpose. What it made that, they made the businesses, not only Uber, the world-class companies today if you talk about, they created, completely reinvented the business model. In fact, this is the course which we floated in a couple of IIMs, one of the flagship response, how to reinvent your business. You have to reinvent your business. If you are an entrepreneur, please try to think most of the time, how I can able to do value creation. That's value is the fantastic word, even defined by fabulous by the authors in that academia. How do you create value? How do you identify the value proposition? You see what Uber has done? They created a business model, surplus from scarcity. Today if you want to travel there, you don't need to buy a car. There are 10 drivers are waiting for you. See that model what they have created there. They are in the business of mobility. If you talk about honestly, which is not. They are not in the business of mobility. They are in the business of analytics. In fact, they created a product. Just imagine how they created a product. The person who drives doesn't know who is the driver. Driver doesn't know who is my customer. In fact, they created another product called Google Go, Uber Go. There are 3 different customers come from 3 different places, reaches to 3 different. All people are controlled by Uber. That's a world-class case study written on it. And actually they address the solutions. In fact, today if we talk about all businesses which we talk about, see that how they created a value creation. What is the process innovation they have done? Because that's what my Schumpeter theory of innovation talks about. Today what's happening is the length of the business today reduced to less than 17 years. The conventional businesses are existing now. For example, if we ask you the question, tell me honestly, how many people been to your bank branch for your banking purpose or transaction, except if you are not working in banking? More than 3 times in last 3 months, can you raise your hands? Again, I'll repeat my question. Been to your branch for your banking transaction physically more than 3 times in last 3 months. Entire population, only 1. Tell me what you should do then. Today we talk about fintech companies. Today we talk about banking. The first earlier concepts of banking, the strength of the bank, the core competitiveness of the bank, the number of branches. So that if number of branches, they can attract more customers. But today it is not. In fact, when we invited Uday Kotak ji in our campus, he is our alumni. Tariq Bhai in our campus, HDFC Bank. They are all saying that, no, we are not in a conventional businesses. We don't want to start. See, in the entire population, out of 1 people been to more than 3 times in a branch in last 3 months. So what could be your strategy then? Is it required to have a 2000 square feet with the 2 cash counter, with the 2 minimum 6 people, with 1 ATM, with the security? Is it a conventional banking structure is required? But if you ask me the other question, how many people are using your banking product more than 5 times in a day? Almost everybody will say in some other way. Because everything you are getting transaction. We don't see the physical transport. See that the conventional banking, how it is changed. Going to bank is one thing, depositing cash is one, taking a statement is another hectic treatment. Today everything is completely transformed. You take any one businesses, anyone in this crowd, can you tell me, sir, the business never model changed for many years? Hardly difficult to remember, right? Because everything has changed. Change is inevitable. And when the short life of business cycles are reducing, innovation plays vital role. It could be a product or process or service or delivery. That innovation won't happen. And Schumpeter says very clearly, knowledge-driven economy. If you are going to that, only innovation helps. And how many people ask yourself as an entrepreneur, what innovation I am doing? Is that innovation give my better ROI? Not necessarily that if you are creative or innovative, there is a success. Please remember that. So I think it's a great opportunity. Wish to share more information, but please remember, I'd like to conclude the discussion because my time is only 10-15 minutes, right? So my humble request is to compete, you have to be act local. The earlier jargon is not fit for that. Think global, act global may not be. Act local so that we can compete global. Because our rich culture, rich tradition, our values, culture and ethics, which drives us, definitely move to the next stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. That was indeed a valuable note to everyone regarding this function. Now, this is the moment that we have been waiting for. Now is the signing of MOU ceremony. So may I request our colleagues and the, yes.
why you request better friendships and because kindly be here for the photo. And the other faculty members of CESD also there. Let's even
Thank you, everyone. Now that we have officially signed the MOU between Manipur University and IIM Shillong, we believe that we will have a long-term relationship between the two organizations. Next, I request Professor W.C. Singh, respected Registrar of Manipur University, to kindly deliver your speech. Sir, please.
Good morning. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Manipur University, Professor N. Lokendra Singh, President of today's one-day national seminar on startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Manipur, Professor D.P. Goyal, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, President of, will be the chief guest, Professor D.P. Goyal, the Honorable Director, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, the chief guest of today's program. Mr. Atul Kulkarni, Member of the Board of Governors, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, and the guest of honor of today's program. Professor Srinivas R. Iyengar, keynote speaker of today's one-day national seminar on startup entrepreneurship ecosystem. Professor Ibohal Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development. Professor E. Vijay Kumar, Director, Center for Socially Inclusive and Exclusive Policy, Manipur University. Learned professors and other dignitaries from different departments, different sections of the society, faculty members, and all other friends assembled on this particular day. It's a really great opportunity today because Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development has organized this one-day national seminar on startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India on this auspicious day. In fact, we keep on talking about startup and entrepreneurship since long, and in India it is not new, and the whole world is giving trust on this particular issues and perspective. Today we have seen National Education Policy 2020. The National Education Policy 2020 again emphasized very clearly on startups, entrepreneurship, skill development, and vocationalization of education. And we talk about this multidisciplinary approach in learning, multidisciplinary research, emphasis on research and innovation, creativity, and not only that, value-based education and learning. These are the thrust areas on today's time. Today, all the institutions are on pressure for grooming students who are having very good skills and capabilities, so that they can one day lead the nation and lead the society. And this is the time which we are struggling on today, on this very day. And all institutions, higher education institutions, are basically giving extraordinary trust on skilling and vocationalization and research and innovation, and yes, of course, creation of more number of entrepreneurs and startup initiatives. Today, all institutions are talking about opening of incubation centers in the higher education institutions. Today, Manipur University is also floating in that, is also sailing on that same line, and we're trying to come up with number of incubation centers. We signed an MOU with STPI, Soviet Technological Park of India, KIT University. We've signed an MOU. We have come up with many more MOUs for such type of startup initiatives. We talk about a tool incubation center. That work is already on. Today, we have signed an MOU with the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, and this is going to open a new chapter in our university, particularly in the vocationalization, the skill development. And this MOU will bring a lot of new benefits, and we're going to learn not many things from this MOU. In the coming days, university will obviously be able to grow more number of entrepreneurs and coming up large number of startup initiatives in the state of Manipur. And this is what we particularly believe. Today, through this MOUs and in our university, we will be able in a position to learn and groom the students all about risk tolerance and how to enhance risk tolerance capabilities, technical skills, collaboration, mentoring and hand-holding, and how to connect the startup entrepreneurs and the young minds to the banking industry and the funding agencies. And these things will basically be explored in a much bigger scale. That will bring a lot of new ideas and new benefits to the learners and to the students of the university. Not only those students who are presently enrolled to the university, to those alumni who had already started new initiatives in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of their own new ventures, and not only in entrepreneurship and small businesses, but also in terms of building their own career, maybe in academics, in administration, and in whatever field they choose. And that sort of hand-holding platform and the mentoring platform university will definitely build, and that will be strengthened. This is what we believe. And I will not take much time because a lot of great speakers are today in front of me, and yes, of course, on the dais, and we are going to discuss on various issues and challenges, and where startups will move for, and in which directions we are going to move. And what is this in this entrepreneurial ecosystem and entrepreneurship ecosystem? What basically the ecosystem is, and that exploration and discussion, so we will take into consideration in the coming sessions. And obviously, the kind of MOU which we have signed and all other incubation centers that is coming up in the university will definitely help in making students more aware about the opportunities. That means finding opportunities and the challenges which they are going to face, and in what direction the startup entrepreneurs and the innovators and the creative minds along with the university can encash and benefit from such types of interactions and the meetings and the groomings. We will listen much more in detail in the coming sessions and deliberation. Wish you a great success and a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request respected Professor D.P. Goyal, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, today's chief guest, to kindly give your speech.
Professor N. Lupendra Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Manipur University, Professor V. Chandra Babu Singh, Registrar, Manipur University, Professor Srinivasan Ayiraj, Director, General Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai University, Professor Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development, respected Mr. Atul Kulkarni, our own member, Board of Governors at IIM Shillong, Dr. Sanjeev Nigomwan, he is the coordinator for Center, Dr. Kalam Center at IIM Shillong, all other dignitaries and faculty members, participants, media people, very good morning. First of all, I would like to just mention about that as far as today's seminar is concerned, national seminar, the theme of the seminar, it is very well thought out, and just like startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India, as we are aware that entrepreneurship is not a new concept as far as our country is concerned. We have been entrepreneurs from the day one. Probably we have taught entrepreneurship to the entire world and in different sectors. After independence, we have come a long way as far as entrepreneurship development is concerned. These days we have started talking about startups. But in the last a few years, as we are aware that we are doing a lot many mission mode projects, and especially in India, as far as the entrepreneurship is concerned, it is a new wave which is there altogether. Especially in the Northeast, if we just look at, Northeast has a lot of potential, huge potential, no doubts in that. Especially when we talk about the Manipur, only yesterday we were meeting some of the entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and we were so happy to know that people here, they are having all the entrepreneurial capabilities. So, as far as this today's seminar is concerned, there are various things which would be discussed during the day, that whether it is the concept of entrepreneurship and startups, whether it is the various role of the institutions, like for example the educational institutions or maybe the financial institutions, and then also what is most important is the role and then the challenges of various enterprises or the entrepreneurs or the startup people. And then what is ultimate or the outcome of all this discussion? It is that what is the roadmap? What is the way forward? What are the strategies that how we should carry forward, because how we need to create an overall ecosystem. Ecosystem is a very broad term, and if we just look at what is the ecosystem, how we can create a culture, how we can create this ecosystem. Ecosystem we just look at, we can look at the most important stakeholder or the actor is the people, the person who really should be taking this as the enterprise, because this is where everything revolves. Because many times we say there are challenges, but when we find entrepreneurs, despite those challenges, they have been successful. So I think that this is what the calculated risk, this is what the passion, this is what the internal motivation, which really matters a lot. And then the personality of the person. Again, the various other things which we really can understand that how this kind of culture we can develop, the ecosystem, which is the enabling environment. That we need to then enable. The infrastructure, for example, is one, whether it's road, whether it's railways, whether it's air. So connectivity, these days we are talking about the internet connectivity. The connectivity becomes very, very important, enabling infrastructure, which is most important after people, that it must be there. Only then we can talk about all these successful enterprises. And then also the policies, which are again very, very important. Many times there are policies, but then what is the actual or the which is the outcome, that is the impact of those policies. That is really most important. So as far as today's seminar is concerned, I would like to give my gratitudes, and I really feel honored and privileged to be here, that the organizers, they have invited us to, because as far as IIM Shillong is concerned, you must be aware that IIMs and IITs, these are again two big brands which are known world over after universities and all this. As far as IIM Shillong is concerned, this is the 7th IIM in the country, which got established in 2007, and we started our operations in 2008. And just within 14 years, we have now well established, not only in India, rather abroad. So we are offering these days MBA and then executive MBA program, also doctoral programs. And then in order to cater the needs of the entire northeastern region, we have 3 centers at IIM Shillong. One center which is known as Center for Development of Northeastern Region. It is from day one. That is from, it is in operation from 2008. It is for the youth as well as to support the people of the Northeast region. Also we have got now an incubation center as well as Dr. Abdul Kalam Center, which is meant to have certain research in the policy and then policy interventions. Idea is that we should have at different levels, if you just say the hierarchy, at the lowest level, it is to connect people directly, understand their problems, understand their challenges, and then if we can support them, this is what our mandate. And then after that, we should also help, or we are helping in establish the startups or the entrepreneurship. And we also provide any service or any support services to the existing such entrepreneurs. And then at the top, that is that now let us try to understand what are the policy implications. Whether the policies, they are really reaching to the people, those who are intended to, whether those policies are giving us the impact which are required to be. So having done those research, again, this is what that we would like to then help all these states of all the northeastern states, because you must be aware that other states, every state is having one IIM. But IIM Shillong is the only one IIM for the entire northeastern states, that's 8 states. And now we are slowly moving to all the states. Last year we went to Arunachal Pradesh, also to the Assam government, and then Manipur, next Mizoram. So this is again that we want to cater to the needs of the entire this region, there's a northeastern region. So as far as the ecosystem is concerned, as we're talking about, the most important element is the people. And for the people, it is just not the skill upgradation. I think the most important is from where we need to start is the sensitization of people. That we need to tell them that why entrepreneurship is important and what are the benefits. It is just not a job, and it is just not the education only for the job. Rather, that is the sensitization is the first part. And that would create a culture that these days it is the entrepreneurship which is rather could be much more important. We have seen that entrepreneurs, they were not many a times, even without degrees, they are doing so well. But yes, with education, there is no doubt that they must have done much better if they are also having those skill sets with them as per today's requirements. Because we are talking about the VUCA, we are talking about so many other complexities, especially after COVID, we have seen that all strategies fail. So this is what that we need to be very, very clear about that how to become your own employer. Rather, you need to provide jobs, not to one, rather to many people. I think that is what the real purpose of the education. Education doesn't mean only to seek a job. Rather, we need to, that is what is really very important, we need to sensitize people. And then of course the next part is, that is the skill development. And then ultimately comes the education, that which pertains to knowledge part. So once we have understood the people part, and then the infrastructure part, and then we can create the ecosystem. We have seen big examples like Silicon Valley, for example, that everybody wants to start a startup. Everybody wants to start an enterprise. Why? Because it is a very enabling environment. It's a very enabling ecosystem. So I think that this is what is very important for us, that I am Shillong in Manipur University. We have just signed an MOU, and again I would like to emphasize here that MOU signing is just should not be only the paper. It is just not to see as other people that we have signed so many of MOUs. No way. Rather, we want to have an actual on the ground the impact for the people of Manipur. So as far as I am Shillong is concerned, this is what our purpose of signing this MOU is, that let us do something for the people of Manipur through this MOU. And whatever we can do, whether it is to identify the ideas, because we know entrepreneurship is implementation of the ideas. You have got some idea, but how to implement it? Until unless it is implemented, it is just an idea, may not be of any use. So that is where I am Shillong can come in. And then we can just let you know through our research center that what could be the different proposals which should be useful for this Manipur state. And then how we can prepare that DPR, that is, that how proposal becomes this viable proposal, and then it could be applied maybe for some funding. Of course, there are various funding available these days. Many schemes are there, and then there are angel investors. If the idea is good and anybody is there to invest money for that. So money should not be, I think that should not be an issue, but how to, that the guidance part is really very important. We need to understand how to create the DPR, how to submit DPR, which is a viable DPR, and then we can get the funding. And then after that is the implementation, so that there is some support, just like Inaugural, that we need to support hand-holding for some time once it becomes a startup in itself. I think that this is in a nutshell, in a very brief, that we want to do, and we are really grateful that Manipur University has come all the way to Shillong and proposed us that let us join together for this noble cause. And maybe after a year or so, we should be again reviewing this MOU, that what we have done on the ground. With these words, thank you very much, everybody who is here, and also wish this today's National One-Day Seminar a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Now I request respected Professor N. Lokendra Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Manipur University, to deliver the presidential speech.
So, honorable dignitaries on the dais, Professor D.P. Goyal, Honorable Director, Indian Institute of Management, Registrar, Manipur University, Sri Atul Kulkarni, the member BOG, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, Professor Srinivasan R. Iyengar, Director, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai University, Professor C.H. Ibohal Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development, Manipur University, learned faculties, friends from the media, and ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I would like to thank the authorities of the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, represented by the Honorable Director, Professor D.P. Goyal, for kindly agreeing to have an MOU with Manipur University. This MOU will not only increase and enhance the visibility of Manipur University in the wider academic world, but also offer facilities to our academics as well as students, opportunities for cross-cultural and cross-institutional interactions over different aspects of management, economics, commerce, skill development, and many other areas which the government of India is now encouraging to take up in many of the higher educational institutions. I'm extremely grateful to Sri Atul Kulkarni also for kindly encouraging the nascent Central University of Manipur, so especially in the field of management and the other aspects of social sciences, And we hope that this kind of support and encouragement should continue in the future also. Thank you very much. Now, coming back to the brass tape, I believe that Manipur has reached the threshold stage for some kind of economic transformation. Manipur, if you open the local dailies, in contrast to what we used to see earlier we used to see so many news items on the political issues, ethnic issues, ethnic crises, insurgencies, and so on and so forth. Now, if you see the local pages, you'll find that the paper is full of advertisements for the local entrepreneurs, for different sort of enterprising activities that is taking place in different part of the state. And Manipur has a very strong and a vibrant middle class. This vibrant and a strong middle class is capable of spending money. Thanks to, in a way, 2 years of COVID, many of the entrepreneurs who are based outside the state and even abroad, now they are willing to come back, they are willing to stay in the state, and they are willing to do something. So, therefore, the fact that Manipur will also be linked up very soon, in about 5 years' time, with these railway lines, and it's just a matter of half a decade that the entire state will be able to see, big 10-tired vehicles moving off and on. This is going to be the economic corridor. Actually, business had already started a few years back, but because of the political development in Myanmar, this trade had been slowed down. Recently it had opened. Again it has been closed from the other side of the gate. But the emerging middle class and a fairly strong middle class, both in the hill as well as the plain, they are capable of taking up the state's economy into some kind of a very take-off stage, which I'm sure that with the connectivity that the state is having in terms of, say, airlines, in terms of railways, in terms of other, say, facilities that is being provided, we will be able to see a new Manipur in a very short period of time. This seminar will certainly open up new ideas, new informations, new formulations on how the startup ecosystem can operate, how it can be linked up with the local, how the local can be linked up with the national, and even beyond the frontier of the country, how it can go beyond the frontier of the country. I'm sure that this seminar should be able to stimulate the minds of our young scholars, young students, particularly from the Department of Management, from the Department of Vibhok and Mbhok, and many other friends and colleagues who have come to attend this seminar. This seminar indeed should be a very important seminar, and it should be a turning point in bringing about a change in terms of ideas for the future economic transformation of the state. With these few words, I would like to thank all of you once again for coming and supporting this seminar, and in the technical sessions, I believe we are going to listen to some very interesting presentations from many of the colleagues who have come to attend this seminar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, respected sir, for your valuable words. Now I request respected Mr. Atul Kulkarni, Member BOG, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, to deliver your speech.
Kurumjeri. And my apologies for causing some kind of inconvenience to each one of you sitting here for the little bit of injury that I am carrying. So pardon me for that. Actually, the protocol says that once the president leaves, no one should speak. And therefore... Yes, President in absentia, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Lokendra Singh, Chief Guest for today's function, Professor D.P. Goel, Director, I am Shillong, Keynote speaker who forcefully made his point, Professor Srinivas Iyengar, Director, JBIMS, Chan Babu Singh, Registrar MU, Director, and old friend, if I may use that, Ibohal, another friend sitting here, Professor Memcha. It's been a wonderful journey, and it seems that I speak on this dais every year. Somehow it's been, except the 2 years of COVID, which did not permit me to travel. It's been, I think, 5-6 years that I'm coming regularly at MU for something or the other. So it's good to see the transition which the Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned about from what it used to be to what it is today. And I think this is the change, the transformation that we are seeing in the entire region. And therefore, I truly compliment both the institutions, IIM Shillong and Manipur University, for entering into this MOU to see that we go to the next level. Because I think what Dennis Waitley in his book Empires of the Mind has said is what worked yesterday will not work today. So obviously we have to think differently. And I mean what these COVID times and these some of these learned authors have taught us is seniority is not going to work, creativity is going to work. And that creativity can be at any stage in your life. It does not have to be at that young age. I think we're trying to say, or we rather think that startup means it has to be at the young age. Yes, today India can boast of saying that we are the world's youngest startup ecosystem, because 72% of our startups are started by the people who are below the age of 35. But that does not mean that the seniors cannot take up the startup, because startup has got nothing to do with the scale or with the age at which you start your entrepreneur journey. Startup is converting an idea into an economic activity. So that's just simple, in my opinion, the definition of startup. So it can be anything. And what is really going to drive this entire startup ecosystem is probably, the 5 pillars that I think are going to really drive the country in our effort to become what all of us are saying, that we want to really become the world leader, not just in terms of the GDP, in terms of the size of the economy, But in true sense, if we want to be the world leader or global leader, then I think to me there are 5 points which are going to drive this entire effort in this millennium. And the first one is the child-centric education. We've been in the past we've been in the habit of batch processing, even in education. I think we have to get out of that, and we have to make the entire education child-centric. We should be in a position to give it to the child what he wants. And why I'm mentioning this is all linked to the startups. Because if you see some of these startups, you would wonder, acha, something like this can also happen. Because it is actually converting that idea into an economic activity, as I said. So therefore, child-centric education is, to me, is going to be one of the important pillars, NEP 2020, under which I think both these institutions are trying to make some good initiatives, is going to be the main driver for this. Second is women-centered family. I don't have to say why, how this will happen especially in Manipur, because this is the society which has demonstrated what kind of empowerment that women can bring to the society. But I think somewhere as a nation, we need to focus on that. So we need to make sure that we have a women-centered family, because the mother nature, the mother culture, the concept of management, all of that is what you get to see when you see a mother. So women-centered family is the second one. The third one is a human-centered development. Our development has been, somehow driven by brick and mortar infrastructure, huge capitals going into mega projects and things like that. Of course, they are required, because if you are talking about creating the communication corridors to transportation corridors to economic corridors, I think infrastructure is required, no doubt. But somewhere we need to also make sure that the human is not lost when we are talking about development, and therefore the development agenda has to be locally driven rather than a batch process again, or some kind of what we call the system where you have the line production and everybody then gets the same thing. So that is third one, where when we are talking about human-centric development, obviously we are talking about 5 E's, which is ecology, economics, ethics, environment and equity. And I think equity to me is very, very important. Subsidy system in whatever form has to go away, because equity of human being is very, very paramount to me. Fifth one is knowledge-centered society, and that is what the startups are demonstrating to the world. They are conveying this message that knowledge is important, and that knowledge and the ability to convert that knowledge into something which is actionable is what we need. And the fifth one, of course, is innovation-centered India. I think all of this, what we are talking about, Kapil is going to talk about adult incubation. We also have a center here, both at MU, at IIM, and couple of other institutions. All of them are talking about innovation, because it is not about what you do, it is today how you do it. It is not what you do, it is how you do it. None of us wanted iPhones. None of us wanted practically. But today, can we think of something different? No. None of us thought that Kodak will go out of business. But who threw Kodak out of business? Of all, Samsung, okay, which we never thought would do something like this. So it is how you do and not what you do. So I think this is how the whole thing is going to change, and this is going to be driving the entire ecosystem. I think I'll leave rest of my ideas and concepts for the plenary session, because as I said, it is not correct to go on when the entire function program has practically come to close. But it's good to see that we have these kind of initiatives taking place in the region. As someone who's been working in the region for almost 3 decades, from what we have seen in the past, whether it is the challenges in communication, challenges in commuting, to thinking of doing anything of this sort. Today I know there are people sitting in Manipur, in parts of Nagaland and Mizoram, who are doing global businesses without any challenges. So I think this is what we want to see as a nation. We've been given this nomenclature that we are an agrarian economy. I never believed that we are an agrarian economy. We have always been traders, and driven by that thought process, agriculture was one of the activity that we picked up because we wanted to feed our population. But we never had the economic agenda, which was only and only based on agriculture. We were traders all these years. I know there are 22 trade points from the northeast region into the Far East and in the Southeast Asia region. So what does this indicate? It indicates that we always came up with new ideas, new concepts, which we took to the world. I think this is what this one-day national seminar on startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem is going to try and achieve. Take us back to that our fundamental concept and idea of becoming the global leader. I thank all the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak even at this session, while I am supposed to be talking a little bit in the plenary session. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, respected Sir Mr. Atul Kulkarni, for your valuable and thoughtful words. Before we conclude the function, I would like to request Dr. Saram Suresh Kumar Singh to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries on the dais, Professor D.P. Goyal, the chief guest of today's function, and Director, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, Honorable Professor N. Lokendra Singh, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Manipur University, Professor W. Chan Babu Singh, the Registrar of Manipur University, Mr. Atul Kulkarni, Member BOG, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, and Professor Srinivasan, Director, Jamanan Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai University, and Professor CESD Ibohal Meitei, Director, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development, learned delegates, invitees, faculty colleagues, a very good morning to all of you. Well, today we are signing an MOU with Indian Institute of Management, especially to build up a startup ecosystem in the Manipur. And for this, we are very much thankful to Professor D.P. Goyal, the Director, Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, for your keen interest in signing the MOU with Manipur University. And I hope this MOU will bring a very bright color in the future. And moreover, I would like to thank Professor N. Lokendra Singh, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university, for extending his all possible support to expedite the signing of this MOU. And also I would like to thank Professor W. Chan Babu Singh, the Registrar of this university, for extending his support and guidelines. And moreover, I would like in expediting this MOU. And also, I'd like to thank Professor Srinivasan, the Director, Zamanlan Bajaj Institute of Management, for various input and also the various thoughtful insight which will be presented in the later part of this seminar. And also, I'd like to thank Professor Ibohal Meitei, the Director of Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development. Whatsoever we are doing out here, we are very much thankful to you, sir. And moreover, I'd like to thank all the media who is taking all the pain to cover all this event throughout the larger dissemination of this information. Yes, I won't take much time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With this, with the permission of the dignitaries on the dais, I can declare the function is concluded, and we will continue with the plenary session.
We can request our honorable chief guest to declare the seminar open.
Yes. Okay.
In fact, Mr. Atul Kulkarni is a specialist for the Northeast. And Mr. Choi was mentioning that for the last more than 25 years, he has been in the Northeast. Sometimes we wonder that he knows more than the Google map as far as the positions of
this one-day national seminar on startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India open, and look forward to